Hello, boys and girls. Today we're going to talk about quest number 3 in creating a graphic organizer or an outline for your paper. The first thing we have to do is make sure we have a topic. So again, we want to just list what our topic is, and we can keep this very simple. My topic is school uniforms. Now you'll notice we have a pro and a con section. In quest 1, I had you do this as well. But for quest 2, I want you to basically define what are the things you were going to talk about. You've gone out there and you've done some research now. You know your topic a little bit better. You've read some articles. So now you can say these are the 3 things that are the main arguments for and the 3 ones that are against. Again, we're just going to focus more on the one that we are going to choose later on, but I want to make sure you list 3 good ones for the pro and 3 good ones for the con, the most important ones. And you'll have to create a claim. Your claim, remember, basically is your stance, the thing that you are going to prove. Over here we have school uniforms have many benefits for American middle schools. Again, this does not have to be perfect. This is just basically a way for you to tell me what your claim is. You can just say schools should use uniforms if you would like. Then for this graphic organizer, you're going to pick 2 big arguments that you think are the most important ones. So I've chosen here that school uniforms keep students from becoming distracted in class. And also, when students all dress the same, this promotes equality and reduces bullying. Then you'll have to define what your counterclaim is. So this is the counterclaim is what you're going to be arguing against. You will bring it up the other side's main argument, and then you will knock that argument down with facts. Over here we have school uniforms keep students from expressing themselves. You'll see that your outline then has some color coding, some areas that you're going to have to complete. I've color coded this in the order I've written the order here that might be helpful for you to write your paper. So the first thing you should do is write your thesis statement. And decide on your subtopics, then complete your body paragraphs, then write your counterclaim. You'll see that we don't actually finish our introduction until later on, and then we can finish our conclusion. The most important thing to do is to write your thesis statement. So let's take a look at that first. Our thesis statement, again, we're going to follow the same format that we have been discussing all year. And I've written the thesis statement saying, after examining both sides, it is clear, should be a comma there, it is clear that school uniforms are beneficial for schools, and students at Bloomington Junior High School should be required to wear them. You can see I was even very specific, and I said this should be for Bloomington Junior High School. Then, if I look at my list, the next thing I should do is decide on my subtopics. So I'm going to look down at my subtopics. Subtopic number 1 says school uniforms keep students from becoming distracted in class. You can see that's the green. I've gone ahead and did that. And then subtopic number 2, when students all dress the same, this promotes equality between students and reduces bullying based on clothing and appearance. Great. What's the next thing I need to do? Then it says to write my body paragraphs. This is where I'm going to be using some text evidence, the things that I researched. You can see over here I have chosen a piece of text evidence. Now I'm not going to read this out loud. You can go ahead and look at that and read that. Then I'm going to have a piece of reasoning that goes with that text evidence. You can see evidence number 1 and then my reasoning for that. So over here I have explained why this evidence is important. I then have another piece of evidence that I use, another piece of text evidence. Again, this is not my words. And then I explain it over here. Then with my next section, I transition to the next thing I'm going to talk about. So you can see I'm going to transition with this sentence. In addition to removing distractions and keeping students focused on their learning, school uniforms also help prevent bullying. You can see for my subtopic 2, I do the same thing. I have some evidence over here that I chose from an article. And then over here, I explain why that's important. Again, over here, another piece of evidence, and I also explain why that's important. Then I finally transition to my counterclaim. My counterclaim is going to be structured in a very similar way we've been doing all year long. I'm going to introduce it. And again, if we're going down our list, it looks like that's the next thing we should be doing is our counterclaim. The counterclaim says, some people say that requiring students to wear school uniforms keeps them from expressing their individuality. Then we have some text evidence to back that up. So for example, this is the stuff, this is why people think this. Then we're going to explain why this is wrong. However, this is incorrect because. Then we're connected back to our thesis. Because of that, you should believe our way of thinking. You can see over here, we might even use some text evidence. Let's say that we find some more information that might actually help our cause. Over here is a good place to put some text evidence. Then our conclusion is going to be very formulaic, or we're going to be very similar to what we've done in the past. You will restate your thesis statement. Say it in a different way. Again, don't just copy it. You've already proved your thesis, so you might just change the tense and change the way it's wording. And then state up all the subtopics you talk about. Again, that's the stuff that's in pink here. Or in green. Subtopic 1 and subtopic 2. Put those into one sentence. Urge your reader to take action based off of your events. And then finally, write a sentence explaining what would happen if the reader did not follow your advice. Then you can go back and start to fill in some of the other stuff. then it's good to go back and find your hook. Find a good way to get your reader's attention. Again, I have an example of a hook here that I took from this article. I'm not going to worry about formatting quite yet. When I start to get into MLA, then I'll worry about that. Then I have some background information. Remember, this is why this debate is important, or why people are paying attention to this stuff right now. You can read over that and see how to do that. Once you're done with that, you have your outline completed. Only last thing you have to do is put some information down for your sources. Again, you can choose to cite them in the proper fashion, or you can choose to just write them down for right now. Some of these are correct and some of them are not correct. When we get to our final draft, we'll double check everything and make sure that our works cited page is completely correct. Again, if you have any questions, please fill out that form and send them to me. Make sure your questions are specific so I can answer them. Thank you very much.